Hello, everyone. This is Dirk from Made for Math, and we are so excited to be with you today and to talk a little bit about solving two-step equations. Now, if you're brand new to the multisensory method of solving equations, you should definitely check out our other video about one-step equations in the link below. Today, we're going to use really some pretty cool manipulatives to figure out the process of solving an equation in a really hands-on approach. The very first thing to remember is that when we're solving equations, our whole goal is to isolate the variable. Now, you may be thinking that there are a couple words here that we might need to talk about. Well, first, a variable is simply a representation of an unknown value. In this case, we represent this value with x. A variable is just something we don't know. The other word, isolate, means to get something by itself. In our case, we want to get x all by itself. Now, in order to isolate our variable, we need to ask the question, who's messing with my x? Here, we want to know if there are any numbers that are affecting our variable. Specifically, we look for things like addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Now, let's take a look at what we know so far using an example. And we'll use the example 2x plus 1 equals negative 3. Let's jump over here to some of our manipulatives here. Each of the x's we represent with these green bars here. So we have 1x, 2x, and then we have plus 1, which we'll add there, and say that that is equal to negative 3. So we'll add 3 of these little red tiles to symbolize each a negative 1, and we have 3 of those. Now, we ask the question, who is messing with my x? When we solve one-step equations, it's a little bit easier because there are not as many numbers messing with our x. But in this case, we have 2 little guys messing with our x. Let's write our equation down in here, shall we? We have 2x plus 1 equals negative 3. Oh, that says 33, sorry. All right. Now, we have a plus 1 and a 2 that are both on the same side as our x. So now that we've identified who's messing with our x, we need to ask another question. How are they messing with our x? Well, in our case, the 2 is multiplied by our x, and the 1 is added to our x. Now we ask another question. What is the opposite operation? Well, the opposite of addition, let's change colors here, is subtraction. And the opposite of multiplication is division. Now, the tricky part about solving two-step equations is knowing which mess to get rid of first. I always say that the easiest mess to get rid of is the farthest one away from x. In our case, the 1 is the farthest away from x, while the 2 is up close and personal. So once we decide which number to take care of first, we ask again, who's messing with our x? Now let's clear up our screen here a little bit. We'll say, who's messing with our x? And in this case, we'll only look at this positive 1. We'll say, who's messing with our x? This 1 right here. How are they messing with our x? Well, they are adding to our x, or addition. And what is the opposite of addition? Subtraction. So what are we going to do? Subtract 1 from this side. Let's symbolize that with our manipulatives here. we'll take 1 away from this side. But when we do that, we also need to subtract 1 from the other side in order to keep our equation balanced. Now, we can do this really cool thing with these manipulatives that I really like, is that if we put these right next to each other, we can combine them and create a zero pair, meaning that 1 minus 1 equals 0, and they go away. This minus 1 we can add right over here to our other side. Now let's rewrite our equation, what we have here. We can say that we still have 2x on one side. We'll just make a little line here to show that we're working on something else here. 2x equals -4, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different -1s. So now we can ask the question again, who is messing with our x? Well, now we see that only the 2 is messing with our x. 2x equals -4. So only the 2 is messing with our x now. How are they messing with our x? Well, multiplication. What is the opposite of multiplication? We know that the opposite of multiplication is division. So what are we going to do? We are going to divide our x into 2 groups. Now let's take a look at what that might actually look like here with our manipulatives. If we say, so we have 2x here, right? Let's see if we can rotate these just a little bit, just like that. So we have 1x and a second x here that we've split into 2 groups. Now, what we need to do is split the other side of our equation into 2 groups as well. So we can say that, I should change my color back to black here, and say that 2x is equal to -4. And we divided those x's into 2 groups. Now we want to divide our -4 into 2 groups. So we'll move one group up here, and then we'll create a second equal group right down here. And we can see that every 1x is equal to -2. So we say that this is the solution to our equation. So we came from right here and we said 2 is messing with our x, and we divided. And now we say that x is equal to -2, because each one of these groups right here, 1x is equal to -2, and 1x is equal to -2, just like that. Now the way that we check this, we can double check our solution by plugging it in, our answer, back into the original equation. Let's try. So here's our original equation. 2x plus 1 equals -3. And we're going to say that x is equal to -2. So if we substitute x for -2, because this value right here, this x is equal to -2, we can plug this in. So we're left with 2 times -2 plus 1 equals -3. If we simplify a little bit, 2 times -2 is -4, plus 1 equals -3. And if we simplify one more step, we see that -3 is in fact equal to -3. Both sides of our equation are equivalent, which means that we have solved the problem. We isolated the variable, and found what x was equal to. That is all that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're interested in learning more, head over to madeformath.com and check out our website. And we look forward to hearing from you again.